Hello, everyone. I am having an issue with Facebook to start my my live. It just crashed and told me my live video ended. Let me just restart this so I can do this live. We're going to do a story of hope today. Okay, what the hell is going on? Let me go back to my Facebook channel and try to start all over again. Let's see. Live video. Hello, hello, hello. So it's a story of hope. She was trying for 4 years. Did some fertility treatments before she met me, was working with another acupuncturist before she met me, and then worked with me from 2018 until current present. I saw her this week in the clinic, and she is 32 weeks pregnant. So I'm going to give you the whole scoop on the things we did, what we changed. Again, she started seeing me at the age of 31. So this is one of those cases where it's not an age thing, but something wasn't working. Let's see. So I just want to hit go live now. Okay. I'm just going to do story of, we can change the title later. Story of hope. Finally pregnant after 4 years of trying to conceive. Camera issue, right? Okay, so sorry guys. Facebook might just unable to find camera. What the hell? Okay, sorry guys. I might have to just ignore this right now, but you know me, I can't let things go. Let's just see. I was just live using Facebook, so I don't know what in the heck. So we're going to get into it. It's super, it's a great story because I think we learn a lot about nutrition in this story, about digestive health. She had some parasites that needed to be treated. It was a pretty, okay. Yeah. So this is not working. Facebook is not working. Okay, we will load it to Facebook at a later date. I'm going to keep this open because I need it. So, okay, we're just going to get into it, and then Beth, we can upload to Facebook at some other time. So she came to me, age 32 in 2018. She had been doing acupuncture with someone else for about 4 months. She had unexplained fertility challenges. She had done 2 rounds. Oh, she did 3 pills of Clomid, 1 cycle, and stopped. It did not work for her. She never even ovulated on it. The doctor basically told her she probably was in premature ovarian failure. It was just a terrible experience for her, so she just never went back to the fertility clinic because they just really made her feel terrible and ashamed. She did yoga regularly, vinyasa. She had good sleep, about 7.5 hours of sleep, although come to find out it wasn't as good actually as it could have been. She'd submitted blood work. Her B12 was a little low when I met her. Her TSH was a tad higher than I wanted it to be. She had a little signs of inflammation. Her eosinophils were high. Her glucose was high. And let's see, then she submitted some other, I just want to read the rest of my paperwork. Sorry, I was going through this and it all got flipped around. So she was typically eating eggs, yogurt, leftovers, chicken steak, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, peanut butter, salsa, nuts. Her major emotions were happiness and frustration. She dealt with headaches, migraines, acne, cold hands and feet, feeling too cold in general. She had menstrual cramps. She had irregular menstruation. She had spotting before her period. Her cycles would go from 23 to 53 days. So she had very irregular cycles. She was hoping to conceive naturally. She had a great relationship with her husband. They'd been together for a long time. She came to me. She went off birth control she was on birth control for several years. She was on the Nuva ring for 10 years. And when she went off it, then her cycles just started getting really irregular. So 36-day cycle, 31, 40, 27, 22, 41, 37. And right before she saw me, she said, she sends me this like breakdown. I'm 32 years old. My husband is 33. I was on NuvaRing for 10 years before I stopped using it. My husband and I began trying to conceive in June 2016. After stopping birth control, I had 3 90-day cycles until October. Birth control ruined my life. I spent almost a year waiting to have a normal cycle, and even now I'm not normal. My cycles range from 22 to 53 days. I went to my gyno and then an RE, and no one cared about my 90-day cycles. I was determined to fix them myself, which I did by drinking raspberry leaf tea and taking supplements. I got my first regular cycle immediately following that. Part of me wonders if my cycle, even though it's shorter, is still messed up, which is why I'm not pregnant. To me, it's obvious my body is telling me it's not happy. I also start spotting 3 to 4 days before my period, and my luteal phase is only 11 days long. All doctors I see say this is fine. I do believe I can get pregnant. I just think my body is messed up and no doctors will help me. I don't want to go back to the doctor because they just want to give me Clomid, which is a Band-Aid. They will force my body to do something that isn't ready, and I want to get pregnant. How can I get pregnant and put my body through all those procedures if my body isn't ready? I want my body to be accepting of a pregnancy and have it make the choice that it is when it is ready. Then she also, she was seen an acupuncturist. She was on some herbs. And then she was taking some different supplements, Rainbow Light Prenatal, Rainbow Light DHA. And she was getting severe stomach aches from the prenatals. So she stopped them. And then she was on ubiquinol and acai. And then she wanted me to know I'm super lucky. I've been with my husband for 15 years and he's my best friend. So happy marriage is what keeps me afloat. We grew up with hardly anything, and both our parents raised us themselves. Now we make good money in New York City, and we waited to start trying because we wanted to be more financially stable. Okay, so that's kind of a little background. So again, 32, she'd been seeing an acupuncturist for 4 months. When she met me, she'd recently given up alcohol and gluten, but she hadn't prior. She started adding in bone broth. So her mom has rheumatoid arthritis and Raynaud's disease, which I thought was significant because those are autoimmune conditions. And like I said, she spots before her period. Ultrasound showed mild PCOS, a bunch of follicles that aren't developing. Her weight was on the lower side. And she was 125 and she's probably like 5'6", 5'7". So I thought her BMI was a little low. Her period, cycle day 1, red with clots, stringy, mucousy, with red globs, changes a super 3 to 4 times, and then a regular every 3 to 4 hours, and tapers and is gone. She gets left-sided pain with ovulation, and her nipples get really sore. Headaches with ovulation and her period. And let's see, she was doing full fat organic dairy. She was waiting an hour and a half between waking and eating, which is not a good thing. She'd been off gluten for 1 week when I met her. She told me at this point she's definitely had 12 valid cycles of trying to conceive. So mind you, she's had these long cycles. So it was probably over like a year and a half that she had 12 cycles that she really did try to conceive and felt like she nailed the timing, not getting pregnant. Mind you, again, 32. And let's see, also cramping, where does that? Okay, so I mentioned I wanted her to get progesterone tested 6 days after ovulation. Like I said, nipples hurt, breast tenderness with ovulation. Then she starts spotting, and then she gets, a very painful cycle day 1. And again, she was on herbs from another acupuncturist when she came to me. And she just had a cycle day 25 ovulation. So she was set to have like a 40-day cycle. She has some acne she's concerned about. And so initially I just put her on, I added in spirulina, bone broth, vital proteins, collagen peptides, Dr. Ron's liver, smoothie recipes. I gave her, some ghee. And I wrote in quotes, this birth control ruined my life statement, because I thought it was a really, I could sense there was a lot of anger there. And I wanted to make sure that we got to it and worked through it. And so then I see her then she starts seeing me in the clinic, for acupuncture. And she basically is going to alternate between me and the other acupuncturist who's also in New York City, which I do all the time and perfectly fine with me. People alternate and see my associates elsewhere, and then they see me when I'm in the clinic, or they see other acupuncturists, perfectly fine. She was telling me she was having a really bad stomach ache, and she had a milkshake. And was in a lot of pain. And so I told her that maybe we should consider removing dairy. She said bone broth was the only thing that was settling her stomach. We added in probiotics. We tried to remove dairy. She was resistant at first. She was having migraines. We talked a little bit about beliefs. She got her progesterone tested. It was low. It was a 9, 6 days post-ovulation. So we got her to get progesterone prescribed. And I told her to start taking it. And then she started eating more regularly, realized she couldn't go more than 3 hours without food. Bone broth is saving my life. She was cycle day 13 when I saw her. I switched up her herbs. And we were talking about her beliefs. She was doing one of my programs at the time. I think my Yes program was running. So she was really involved in reworking her belief systems. And by the second month of me seeing her, she had her earliest ever ovulation on cycle day 20. And so we changed the herbs, we adjusted her diet, got her eating more regularly, got her on supplements that her body could actually use and absorb, because she was on the Rainbow Light stuff. And at the time, they might have changed it now, but back then it was still with with folic acid, and it had fillers and binders. And as we come to find out, as years working together, and she does my body belief diet and the Purify, she has all sorts of food intolerances. And we really helped her figure out the exact right diet for her over the years. But so this basically continues on for about a year, where we have fairly regulated her cycles. We know exactly what ovulation looks like for her. So then her period comes. Now there's no more cramps. She's starting to have a 14-day luteal phase. No more migraines. And she's having earlier ovulations. And so this continues basically for a year. Earlier ovulations, cycle day 20. Cycles are super consistent, but we're still not getting pregnant. She winds up at one point during this year, we eventually get her to go grain-free, and do sprouted if she's going to do any nuts. Her skin was getting better at this point, so now we're 4 months into working together. Skin starts to clear up. She is trying to have more fun with her life. They decided to start traveling more. They were putting everything on hold, waiting to get pregnant. So they wouldn't plan big trips, because what if she was pregnant? Where could they go? And they really enjoyed traveling. So they started getting back to living their life. And so had a great trip. They went to Turks and Caicos, no gluten, basically no dairy. She was fighting a cold. And then we think at some point, where is it? So then now at this point, she's 6 weeks dairy free. Her skin is 100% better, different. Her stomach is great. Her bowel movements are great. And then I see her in October, and she's had diarrhea for 2 weeks. I had put her in the Purify phase, which is from my book, Body Belief. It'll be similar to phase 2 that's going to be in the Egg Quality Diet book that comes out soon. But she kept having this diarrhea, watery, frequent diarrhea. So part of me thought, I think she's just resetting her intestinal flora. I think her body's just truly detoxing. But then it still continued. So we had her go to a doctor in the city who does work with parasites. He's a parasitologist. He does not find a parasite, but he finds that she has high dairy and wheat allergies. And so now she's 100% still in the purified. He agrees with the diet. He says no. We have her on no nightshade vegetables as well. Sorry, that was on me. Her vitamin D was really, really deficient, and like a 10 or a 15. So we put her on high dose vitamin D. So I should back this up too. Like, because of the incident with the reproductive endocrinologist and the Clomid, she basically doesn't want to see doctors. She didn't like the experience. She feels like, so it took me a while to get more blood work done. That's why it took me a while to find out the vitamin D was so low. And then her stomach starts to get better. So again, now we're almost a year into working together. Is that right? She first saw me of course, I can't read the date. January 15th. So yeah, we're hitting on a year. Now we're December 2018. Let's see. She's still ovulating. You know, her sleep is about 7 hours. Her bowel movements have normalized. She got another cold though. She got this ear infection. And then then she sees another doctor because the diarrhea comes back, and the one doctor in the city sends her to another parasitologist. And they put her on a round of antibiotics because they find a parasite. I think she does Flagyl. And she lost weight. She drops to 115, just really, really, really skinny. And so we kind of shift gears for a little bit where we're like, I don't think we should try it. I think we should get rid of this parasite, treat it, get your weight back up. Then and we really have to build up her blood and her yin. She was tired. She was depleted. And so, still in February, diarrhea is coming and going. And so now she's working with this parasite doctor, and we finally then, let's see, things even out. I have her add in rice, and she's at 110 pounds, like I said, and she gets her period, not in Purify. She was having some wine. She was feeling really defeated. So we added in some sprouted seeds, some quinoa. She stopped losing weight. This is now March 2019. So she stops losing weight, which is good. Then she starts enjoying herself too. They're going to do some more travel. Her stomach's getting better. Her energy's coming back. She repeated some blood work with the parasitologist. Everything came back clean. And so we're going to do a Dutch test that month. I'm not going to attend to questions unless they pertain to this case. So just so you know. But my team can respond to you. So her sleep is still now affected. And we start working on the mindset piece again of like, everything's fixed. Everything in my body is doing is exactly what it needs to do. This came up previously in my e-course office hours, which I was in live before I came here. And it was a similar case of like, this woman just has spotting in her luteal phase, like every month. And she's really frustrated because it's not going away. And if she takes progesterone, it does help it, but then it comes back the next cycle. And so it just feels like a Band-Aid. And that's even what I had to work on here in this case was like, okay, what if this is just what your body's doing? Like, what if we're doing all the right things and your hormones are doing all the right things and you just still have spotting? Like, can women that spot still get pregnant? And the answer is yes. Could you do progesterone support in a pregnancy to help hold a pregnancy? 100%. Should you if you need to? 100%. So we had this level of acceptance we really started working on. And then also what started to come up around here, this is March 2019, is she starts sharing with me some family stuff that happened a long, long time ago, some significant trauma. And I remember being floored because at this point, like I'm seeing this girl monthly. I feel very close to her. She's never once told me these stories. And it's like a year and change in, and this stuff starts coming up about, just like a history of trauma. And and they were powerful conversations, and I encouraged, it wasn't, not to, I mean, obviously this is all anonymous. It wasn't sexual abuse. It was her dad died at a young age, but it was like a suspected murder. It was but it was a big thing. And then her mom went into this whole state of shock and trauma, and she just had this very kind of like fragile upbringing, if you will. And I remember thinking, like, this is so interesting that she hasn't told me any of this. Like, we talk about beliefs, so we started working on, I gave her some forgiveness work on like ancestral healing stuff to do. And that really started to shift things a little, because what came back in the Dutch test also showed that there was like her cortisol and cortisone. She was running on a lot of stress. It just constantly going in her brain, constant. And, I remember the Dutch doctor, I have the review here, he said her DHEA was weak for her age, her metabolized cortisol is really low, you have to treat the adrenals if her thyroid is normal, which her thyroid was. He said her ovaries are not responding to the signal, like he felt like she was in constant fight or flight, and that's why there was just no communication, like the hypothalamus pituitary ovarian axis was just not communicating. Even though she was ovulating, but then when we find out about the uva. This is like maybe a couple months later, she starts using the uva, or at some point she starts using the uva. And her LH surges are super low. And so it's just like not enough oomph, basically. So she's not having a good, healthy ovulation, which I then think is what's causing the progesterone issue, right? So it helps me. I shift my herbs. We start to hone in more on like, how is your sleep? Like she tells me, oh, I sleep 7 hours. I feel pretty rested. But then the truth is like it's light sleep. She's kind of up and down. So he said her body is trying to compensate with increased cortisol. And we have to support the sleep. The sleep is the biggest hurdle, and that's causing the problem. And so we get really serious about that. So she does the Dutch test in March. We probably don't have these results until like April. This is 2019. And she's got some headaches coming back. So, and she's taking a trip. She's having fun again. So we get information on the Dutch. I have her start digital detoxing before bed. So some of this is on me too. I kind of missed this part. So I have her, cut out all devices 20 minutes before bed, start journaling. I want her to practice the forgiveness prayer every single night, which is, it's ancestral trauma work. This guy, John Newton. Her period is still coming. She's still doing the diet. Like she's basically living in like what we would call like phase 3 from the egg quality diet. Emotional frustration kept coming up. And, again, same thing. Cycle's looking pretty good. And she starts taking a lot of melatonin. This is another good example. Do you know too much melatonin will suppress ovulation? I didn't realize she was on 3 milligrams of melatonin. So it suppressed her ovulation in May. And then we had her stop, and then boom, her body ovulates in June. We redo the Dutch because she had missed one part of it. We redo the Dutch in late June. And we get more information on the Dutch. We make some more tweaks. But now it's really like, so now we have a system. We talk through the Dutch. I put her on some glandular support, kidney glandular support, because her adrenals were so shot. Some Mitocor. We get on a nighttime routine of complete darkness. I change my herbs on her. This is August of 2019. We then get the earliest ovulation we've actually ever had working together. Cycle day 17. So she starts doing tapping. We have her doing emotional freedom technique. And then let's see. I have her connect with this one coach that I work with. He's a mindset coach, and he's amazing. And Nick Breau is his name, Breau, and does a lot of, it's all mindset stuff. That's it. And I felt like she needed the deeper work that I couldn't really give her, just due to time constraints and stuff, but that he could do to help work through rewiring this stuff, because a lot of this was coming from rewiring of like, I'm not good enough. I have to suffer in order to achieve what I want. Life is always a struggle, and just also I think like the bottom being pulled out of her so abruptly at such a young age, and then seeing, her family just really fall apart, and it was significant trauma. And that I think everything was always like then so controlled, and like she just had to control everything, and so she slowly just started to let go, and like really, really let go, and not in this way of giving up. She was very clear, this is my dream. I'm growing a family. I'm getting pregnant. This is my dream. This is my dream. But it was this final piece, was this emotional piece where I want to say like surrender really took in. And he started giving her mantras, and one was, it's already done. It's already done. There's nothing more I have to do. There's nothing. And I felt that way too. Like I felt like the diet, she had it down rock solid. We figured out the diarrhea thing. There was a parasite. We treated it. We've recovered. Her weight has now stabilized. Her cycles are becoming even more regular. We did the Dutch. We know what to support. We're going after her adrenals. We're addressing sleep routine. We really came in and just zeroed in on this, adrenal situation, if you will. And I'm not one for adrenal fatigue, but like she legit, I tested her cortisol and cortisone, like she had adrenal dysfunction, and that was impacting her body's ability to feel safe to get pregnant, because she was doing all the things. She really was. And so then I had her tracking with so not yet. Then she started doing a lot of work around like, instead of getting jealous or mad at girls that are pregnant, it was just this feeling of like, oh, I'm going to be pregnant again. I'm going to be pregnant too soon. I'm going to be pregnant too soon. And so started shifting her anger and her frustration. Instead of being jealous or angry at other women, she started feeling more like, oh, look, she's pregnant. Oh, I'm going to be pregnant too soon. Like I'm almost there too. Oh, and just getting on that momentum side of things of like, I'm not going to be left out. This is going to work out for me. And she said the work that she was doing with him on the mindset stuff has really helped her relax. She's seen progress, as linear versus a loop. Like she would basically like feel good and you guys all can relate, 2 weeks out of the month was like hopeful and positive, and then would get her period and then cycle into the depression loop. And so that he was trying to have her look at it as like a continuous, like linear state of mind. He actually also has a really good book, Nick Breau, I think it's called Power Manifesting, which is a good place. You could follow him on Instagram too. He's a dear friend. He's a genius. And so it just started to like help her see of like every step is leading towards the next step versus I'm hopeful, I get a period, there's a setback. I'm hopeful, setback. And that was the loop versus linear. Like it's all leading to something. I will be pregnant soon. It's all coming together. I have everything I need. And I really do think for her, it came in and it created a sense of safety in her cells. Like on a cellular level, I think there was this lack of like safety. And it was just, and I'm not a trauma therapist or a trauma specialist, but I think I've seen enough. And I saw it in her blood work. I saw it in her labs. Like it was very obvious. And then as we started, and I think the acupuncture and diet and giving her control and empowering her with these things she could do really helped her feel safer and more in control. And this mindset piece was the last piece. It was kind of the final straw. And she never stopped caring. She never put making a baby on hold. She never said, okay, I'm fine if I don't have a baby. She was always very clear, no, I need to have this child and I want this child. But I'm also allowed to enjoy my life, and I'm also allowed to be excited about this child coming. I'm allowed to be hopeful. And so still December 2019, we're still freaking not pregnant, which is effing frustrating for me. I then stopped using paper charts and moved to my clinic is now all EHRs or digital. So same thing. She got a period December 31st. She was disappointed, but she was looking at the future as future fun. But I don't care. It's not. It's realizing she's at the beginning and doesn't have to happen overnight. She was on a trip. She started to have fun. She deviated a little from the diet and didn't have a reaction. I changed up her herbal formula again. And then January, we see a cycle day 15 cervical mucus. This now is the earliest, 17 and then 15 cervical mucus. So she still ovulated around 17, but we moved up her ovulation, legit, when she first started seeing me, almost like 25 days. And then she now feels like, maybe I'm ready to see a reproductive endocrinologist again. Maybe I'm ready to try an IUI again. Maybe I'm ready. She hadn't been there for 3 years. So she said she walked in and she felt like in control. Like her whole mindset was different. She was like, oh, maybe I'll use these guys for their services versus am I good enough for them to use me? Or is this going to work? Like all this pressure, how are they judging me? She kind of came in like, maybe I'll work with you, maybe I won't. She really shifted. Again, the attitude shift was tremendous. So instead of doing anything, she got monitored. She had a beautiful 22 millimeters follicle. She had fun sex. Not pregnant. Okay, so then March hits. She decided to take a break from progesterone. She spotted the whole month, but it was good confirmation for her that she just still needed the progesterone. She needed to love and accept it. So that was another, I think, a final piece there. And then COVID hits. So it's March 10th. So we can't see each other in the clinic. I still have her on herbs. We're doing some coaching calls here and there. And she decides in June when the clinic's June 4th, I started spotting, feel like I'm going to get my period tomorrow. I think I've decided that now is the time to try an IUI. I talked about this in January with my husband. We said, let's take a year off and travel and revisit in 2021. Well, now with 2020 canceled, it feels right to me to go try an IUI. I'm in a calm state. I'm relaxed. I'm happy. I'm just ready to up my odds. I think the way I feel right now is if it doesn't work, I don't care. I don't feel stressed because I feel like I have all the time in the world. But like I said, I want to get the ball rolling. I guess I want your phone call. I guess I want your opinion. I know that you think that you and Nick both think I can get pregnant naturally. I do believe my body can do it, but it does get exhausting month after month. And now with literally nothing left to do in life outside this apartment until the fall, it feels right. I don't want to sound like it's something to do because we were bored. I just think it's something I can handle right now because there's no stress of timing since we have no plans. I think I'm ready. And so I said, I like this plan, and I do think IUIs are still getting pregnant naturally, just with a tad more support. So I think absolutely go for it. You could also try the UVA for this cycle. I see it, and so we could do monitoring, check labs. So I get her to do the UVA for 2 cycles. She's doing some blood work, and we do a call. And let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so she's doing the UVA. It looks like your body is gearing up for ovulation. Yesterday, your LH got up to a 16, but then it dropped. You're getting there. How are you feeling? So this is June 23rd. Thanks for the update. I'm doing good. I'm not overanalyzing. I'm allowing my body to do what it wants. I'm not in a rush. She's excited. Her LH surge. So now all of a sudden she notices, this is interesting. So we're using the UVA and she starts paying attention to the numbers again. And guess what happens? Her ovulation gets delayed. Longest cycle I've had in ages, and I'm almost out of sticks. So the whole point of using past ovulation to see progesterone is going to be a waste. I like the app because it doesn't say what cycle day I am, but every effing morning it just says low ovulation, which mentally makes me feel like shit. When normally I go about my life and my nipples are sore and ready, I'm almost there. So I did want to do it to get the results, but you can definitely see how this can knock the wind right out of my sails. Honestly, if I could just use 100 of their sticks in a cycle, I'd be less stressed. I'm stressing about all this. Totally delayed her ovulation. And I mean, I love the UVA. I don't normally see that with clients, but this is a perfect example. She's just, I think that's where BBT can make girls a little stressed out too. She was just so attached to these results and like what her body was doing that it actually delayed her cycle. And it was such like a clear moment of like stress really impacts her cycle and like the scrutiny. And there's a lot of women like that. So we figured we got her more. She wanted to keep scanning. And then I kind of was like, maybe we just stop. And then let's see. Now I'm emailing with, okay. So then she creates a new account and, well, anyway, she keeps scanning. Sorry, you don't need to know all that detail. We figure out how to continue the scan. And okay, she ovulates, which is amazing. So, and now it's, July 5th. It took her a whole 30 days. And then, let's see. Okay. We talked about how we're not robots, and that's okay. Her progesterone, she started that. So July 9th, let's see. Okay. Still going through emails. July 10th. Okay, she ovulated on cycle day 21 in July. And then, let's see. And let's see, UVA update. Okay. So her progesterone wasn't showing a super high even read on the UVA, even on the supplements. And so she decides July 16th, I will do the IUI with Clomid and a trigger shot, even though I'm deathly afraid of the shot. But I'm frustrated and a little scared because I think the REs look at your progesterone levels and like they definitely wouldn't listen to this data. They'd want their own. Can I ever get pregnant ever? And so she's frustrated. This is July. And I said, she's like, can I ever get pregnant? I write back, you can definitely get pregnant. I think two things. One, your estrogen needs more of a push that will get you to ovulate sooner. And you should help progesterone to get where it needs to get. Two, the progesterone you are taking isn't doing much. I think you may need another form. Or we actually stop the RX progesterone and try progesterone or bioidentical progesterone. I apologize if I wasn't clear. It's inefficient. So anyway, we go back and she's like, thank you. I needed to hear that. Let's see. And then, let's see. Okay. Let me see. So we refill her herbs. So she's all set there. She does the IUI, has a massive follicle, gets the trigger shot. And she ovulated on cycle day 16. To summarize the experience, we loved it. We kept it light. My husband drove me into the city each morning for monitor. We had fun. We went to a gluten-free, dairy-free bakery. The day was fun. Then we just had fun sex because we wanted to, not because we had to. It was literally the best thing ever. And ovulating so early meant I wasn't suffering getting blood taken. So I feel great. I'm excited to see what happens. But I also think I'm okay if it's not right now. We're going to go to the Hamptons for Labor Day. So we'll be taking off next month if it doesn't work this time. And this is, I said, it's amazing news. I check in on her. She gets her period and she said, I'm okay about it. It's not as devastating a blow as I was afraid of. I made a huge breakthrough during this process. And I think that's why. I don't want to get I always used to say, I don't want to get my hopes up because of the disappointment each month. I couldn't see that in doing that. I was holding back and fearful at the end of each month. I keep hearing you tell me to jump in with both feet for the IUI. I was never jumping in with both feet ever. I was always trying to protect myself from being hurt. Can you guys relate to that? So the last week or so we've been diving in. We looked online at cribs. We decided colors we would use if it was a boy or a girl. We started talking about it more, which we never did. We both feel lighter, and I think I found what's been holding me back. So this cycle may not have worked, but for the first time in 4 years, I feel like I'm moving forward. Not starting a cycle again, planning for future. We will have, it's been fun and exciting instead of dreading for the negative test. So it was a great cycle. We really enjoyed it, and it will happen soon. We are going away for Labor Day. Then we will do our second IUI when we get back. Thanks for checking in. It's been a long road, but I'm chugging along, and I see the massive improvements I'm overcoming mentally. So it's August 24th, and I just told her how proud I was of her. She makes an appointment with me because so then she's going to do, so she took a month off, and now September's coming. She's going to do a second IUI. She took 75 milligrams of Clomid. She had one follicle. And let's see, I told her, you are safe, you are protected, let's do this. And Thursday, October 29th, she sent me an email that says, it's happening. I knew it was coming. We are literally in disbelief. We've been jumping and crying and hugging all morning. I'm so relieved. I knew my body could do this. I told you we've been saying one thing we are excited for every day this month. Yesterday, mine was to feel the baby inside me and just be pregnant. We wrote every one down, and now to look back, and we can be excited. It's not even real. Thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing me to this place. I wouldn't be here without you. I love you so much. The universe knew this was our time. We spent the last 4 years traveling and living our lives to the fullest. I'm a way better person now than I was then. I wouldn't change any of it. And a picture of her positive pregnancy test, and there you have it. Totally makes me cry. I was so proud of her. So October 29th, 2020, and her first visit with me was, what did I say? January 15th, 2018. So it was a long haul. But I feel like we are dealing with a different woman now than ever before. And I also think this is a great case to show that, like, she really was doing all the things, and the final piece was this emotional piece. And I know it's so easy to say it and even to read it in a case like this, but I know you guys can relate to so much of what she was feeling and what she was going through. And that she finally just hit this place where she was like, fuck it. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to have fun. And I'm going to let myself start being excited about being a mom and growing a family, because I've been holding myself back for all these years, like in a defensive, mechanistic kind of way. And so at the moment, she's 32 weeks pregnant with a healthy baby girl. And yeah, that's that. Exciting, right? You guys all stayed on for the end, which I think is great. Thank you. And yeah. Okay, I'm going to go because I have a call at 1 o'clock, and I got to review some Dutch notes. So I will see you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.